I zig, she
I'm
zagged.
so excited to be back. We missed all of last year because we did this crazy thing called getting married, and then we were in Croatia on a honeymoon when you guys were here last fall. So I don't know how we did it, but every single camp we missed last year, and I have to tell you, it broke our hearts to send back that email to Karen, because the thing is that each time we come, here it is that we're supposed to be giving you guys, all this wisdom and knowledge that we have, and yet each time that we leave camp, we leave filled with so much that you guys give us. So it almost seems like, a joke that we're here to give something to you because we just get it right back. And I have the feeling that that's really why we're all here, right?
Yes. Yeah.
We all gain something from each other when we come, whether that be community or whether that be sisterhood, or whether that just be laughter, companionship, somebody just to bear witness to your pain, to what you've been through your procedures and the process of what it is to be a survivor. And every time that Elisa and I leave here, we are so touched, and oftentimes, I know some of you follow my blog, I'm writing about my experience at camp the following day, just overfilled with all the experience that I've had here. And last time that I talked, when I opened up the camp, one of the things I was trying to impart on everybody was that when we leave here, we sometimes lose a little bit of that. So I really want to have us all be really conscious of just collecting those little moments that happen throughout the camp. I really want us to be so focused on finding those tiny little moments. I'll tell you a little story. When I was in my deepest, darkest depression in 2008, 2009, I read this stupid book that was this big, and it was bright pink. It was like the last book I would have ever considered myself something that I would pick up off the shelf. But for whatever reason, it was just calling to me. And in it, it said for me to write down 5 things each day that I was most grateful for. And I remember thinking, like, that's really stupid. That's not going to work, But I kept reading this book because there was these beautiful quotes in it, and the book was actually quite beautiful. And despite me having to carry around a 10-pound pink book, I really ended up enjoying reading it. And begrudgingly, I began doing this practice. So, first I started with the big things. I'm grateful for the sun, grateful for the moon, grateful for the waves. I was living in Hawaii at the time. I'm grateful for Hawaii. And I was like going through all the big stuff. But the thing is, you can't repeat what you said. So then you have to start looking for stuff to be grateful for. And here I was in like this deep, deep, really dark depression where at night, sometimes through tears, I'd be writing down these stupid 5 things. But I'll tell you what, it completely shifted my perspective. To the point that every night now, Elisa and I say our gratitude to each other. It has absolutely changed my life, and I write about it often, and I kid you not that I make the joke, and maybe it's not even that funny, but people seem to tease me when I say it, that I haven't had a bad day since. Because of that gift of perspective. So one of the valuable things that we can do here while we're here is to shift that perspective. Whatever it is that we came here with. All of us are in different stages of our own journey. Some of us are in more difficult times than others. Whatever it is that we came here with, we can all shift that perspective now. We have that power to just start collecting those moments throughout the time they can. So that when you leave here, the memories don't just all dissipate and everything doesn't just suck away from you as soon as you get on that bus and you start heading down the road. I want you to be so filled up that when you leave here, you're able to take not just pictures and not just memories, but really that change in perspective. So one of the things I wanted to talk about was resistance. Each of us, whether we realize it or not, have come here with resistance. Resistance oftentimes shows up in the form of fear. Sometimes resistance shows up in the form of fatigue, maybe even laziness. Sometimes resistance shows up in distractions. Resistance has all kinds of ways of showing up. Any writers or artists in the room? You guys will definitely know resistance. That's like in red, and all of us creatives, we have resistance that we meet every day. But all of us, no matter what our vocation is or what our passion is, we've come here with a certain level of resistance. And I would like to invite you to close your eyes for a second and think about, with me, something that might be blocking you from taking in all the experiences that we might have this weekend. Let's see if we can identify that thing that might be blocking us. And if we're willing, let's see if we can just soften to it. We don't have to chase it away. We don't have to push it away or even accept it or be fond of it. All we have to do is soften to it. Now, if we can identify that thing that maybe we've been struggling with, or maybe that is a common theme that keeps showing up for us, if we soften to it, that way we can allow more to come into that space. Because when you think about resistance, we think about how we tighten up, how we clench up, how we block. When we talk about resistance, we talk about being stuck. So what we're trying to focus on with that softening is a little bit more fluidity, some space. And when we create that space, we can allow all those little moments that we're collecting from each other, from our experience here, all of those bits of laughter, all that companionship and sisterhood and community, we can allow that space to come in and embrace it. And it allows that place of flow. So while I have you with your eyes closed, one thing I like to do each day, actually, is set an intention. And this could be something very basic. It doesn't have to be world-changing. It could be just something as simple as smile more, or be kinder, maybe pass less judgment, say hi to a few strangers that you haven't met yet. It could be something very simple as that. But I find when I set an intention each day, that way no matter which way the wind blows you throughout the course of this camp, you can keep coming back to that anchor point. And that anchor point will be that intention that you can keep coming back to focus on. So while I have you with your eyes closed, if you can just think about whatever that intention is. Perhaps it's something that you want to get out of the next couple days, or maybe even something that you want to give back to the women for the next few days. Oftentimes, the very thing that we're seeking most is the thing that we need to be willing to give away. Now, once we have that intention set, you can go ahead and flutter your eyes open. Now, each of you, while you're here at camp, is going to be asked to challenge yourself in certain ways, whether that be on the ropes course, or riding horses, or all the activities, or maybe even doing crafts, or talking with Elisa or I in meditation. There's all these opportunities here set up to push against the boundaries that you have right now. Maybe those blocks, or maybe that stuckness that we're talking about, that resistance. So allow these opportunities here at camp to just broaden that horizon a little bit and push back a little bit on that resistance so that you can remain open to the flow of the community. Whatever your intention is that you set, you can come back to that regardless of whether you ended up with a roommate you didn't really like this time, or whether the food was really that great, or whether it's a little colder than we thought it was going to be, or whatever the silly complaints that we might have at camp. We can come back to that intention time and time again and get rooted in our own space. And that way we can get out of camp exactly what we came for, and we can give back tenfold even what we thought we were going to get. So now that we have our intention set, I want everybody to have an amazing weekend this week. I want you to open up a little bit to vulnerabilities. That's another great space there to test that level of resistance. The more vulnerable you allow yourself to be, you invite others to be a little bit more vulnerable too. And what better place in this beautiful community to do that? So I want everybody to have an amazing time here at camp. Please utilize Elisa and I and squeeze us out as much as you possibly can. That's what we're here for. And we're going to be doing the same from you, getting all of our hugs and enjoying all the laughter and fun together. And I just wish that you have an amazing time. And I'm just so grateful to be back. Thank you so much. Oh, you're welcome. At this time,